Hi guys, welcome to my new series. It's called Baby Steps. Yeah, I'm doing this since the tier 1. If you haven't check it out if you want. And basically the aim is to teach you how to use your low tier tanks. Low tier tanks are basically tanks that you can easily research up to tier 1 to tier 3. On tier 4 you start the grind. Basically that's when you have to research quite a bit to get your upgrades up. And this is the series that's focusing mainly on teaching you how to use your low tier tanks as a tutorial for something bigger. If you are starting, this is very good. If you are still clubbing, this is also very good. And you already may have some of your preferential tanks and all that stuff for the veteran players, but for the new ones, I'm basically doing this for them. And after this, you can also expect some map positions in the videos that I'm gonna cover. So for today we have at LT35WZ VZ35 Czech one, and this is the Czech tank, and Germans later used a copy of this tank to make the Panzer 35. Now let's start. In the game this thing is basically used to teach you how to use a medium tank, which doesn't have much armor. It's I should say the average in mobility and has an average to good gun. And basically this thing is a medium tank tutorial. Now let's start with survivability. You don't have any. You can only expect to bounce shots from low tier tanks, basically tier 1 tanks that are stock or stock tier 2. Your hit points aren't good either. You just have under 200 hit points, 180 to be precise. So don't worry about surviving, because you won't survive long when you start receiving fire. Your aim time on the top gun is 1.7, dispersion is 0.38, and rate of fire is 23 rounds per minute. With on the 75% crew, I use credit crew for the training, and at the moment after all of the games my crew is up to 82%, and my rate of fire and reload is 2.8 seconds with 21 shells per minute. So I managed to get that down a bit, and as you can see my aiming time is not very good compared to the stats that the gun is displaying, because my crew actually is not fully trained. Now even with the half trained crew you can do some stuff, but keep in mind that you must at least grind a bit of credits before going for the next crew and next tank. So I suggest patience, guys. Don't suggest that you rush to the tech tree. Use your extra slots to research and your main slots for tier 1 that I already covered as a crew trainer. Now let's see the next thing. Next thing I'm gonna cover is basically mobility. Now, the gun depression and gun elevation and the turning of your tank. Turning of your tank is 41 degrees per second, and of your turret is 27 degrees per second. So I've seen better, but this is an average mobility for the average tank. It's nothing to be good with and nothing to brag about, but is at least decent enough. Also top speed is not very good, 34 km per hour on frontally, and in reverse 15 km per hour only. So you won't be a speed demon. You don't expect this from this tank to take those early positions and keep them in time. So be aware of that. Now when you want to see the spotting system is 295 view range, and with the binaural telescope it's just adding an extra 25% on that value. So it's not much. Keep that in mind. If you want to keep somehow this tank and you are willing to put up with it, there are a couple of things you should know. First, your crew and your retrofits. Your crew, if you want to keep them, your primary skill is the Sixth Sense. After that, I suggest going for concealment. For your driver, I'll suggest that you go for concealment, then go for repairs if you want. And if you're willing to even put this with the top 3 perks, I suggest that you reset. Do the first as concealment, basically second will be Brothers in Arms, fully trained, and the repairs for the third. Similar for your commander, if you want the 3 skills, first the Sixth Sense, Brothers in Arms, and concealment. And for your radio operator slash, no, just radio operator, nothing else this guy has to do, and your skills will be definitely concealment, brothers in arms, and repairs, which I suggest for this little tank if you really want to keep it. And if you really want to keep it, you have two choices: cheap choice or expensive choice. Cheap choice will be for your with your detachable modules, which are binos, telescope, and toolbox. These can be removed and added for free. And the complex equipment will later cost you gold. So I don't suggest that you throw away your gold or your complex equipment on any vehicle that you really want them to. And every time I sell a vehicle, I always sell the complex equipment that comes with it, because my gold as a free-to-play player is a bit valuable. And now what you need to do and understand is the second expensive stuff that you can run is improved vents. The second option will be coated optics and enhanced gun lane drive. So basically all that stuff is in. You can add some APCR ammo and use credits for it, because the APCR ammo is going to be useful against the heavy tanks like the Panzer 2J, which are Panzer 3J, which are the premium tank, and it has 50 millimeters of armor all around it. It's basically almost armed like a KV-1 in a tier 3 tank. So keep that in mind if you run into those monsters. Sometimes you'll need the APCR. Just sometimes, not always. Because the values of the gun, as you can see, is 52 millimeters penetration with regular AP and 74 with APCR. And you don't do much damage. Keep that in mind. Anyway, I think I talked about long enough, and just for the research: gun, easy, tracks, and after that the next tank. Simple as a piece of cake. So let's jump into the battle so I can show you how did I manage to drive this tank. And the map for today is Ruinberg. Ruinberg has two options, which you're gonna remember when you start playing on the high tiers on this map. Let's see. The 7 till 0 line is basically meant for light tanks, tank destroyers and scouts, and also the medium tanks. For those who have armor, the heavy tanks 1 to till 5 line are basically meant for the guys that have the armor. Keep in mind this mid-ridge that can also shoot in the city and shoot back from the city. Now, let's focus back on the game itself. As you can see, at this moment, I am in a situation. I'm actually using a tier 2 light tank into the city against tier 3 tanks, which is not the best way to use it, but at this moment that's the actually very useful course of action, because M2 medium has a big gun and I can cover his reload and take the shots on targets of opportunity that his derp cannon doesn't finish off. So in this situation I'm trying to use a combination of two different caliber guns and two different usage of the guns for the action up ahead. And as you can see, M2 light is right in front of us, and LTVZ 38 tried to push a bit too far, and with my LT I managed to damage him a bit. Now notice that M2 medium doesn't have an AP round. He can, when he hits an obstacle like fence, like a truck, like a car, the shot doesn't go through, or even a wall, so the shot doesn't go through and it just explodes. You know, the brick wall, not the concrete wall, which is in this case on our right side on this building, and that thing is indestructible. Now the enemy was pushing too hard and he got unlucky, and I managed to get one kill for me. That's when you have a little tier like this one, you actually need to preserve the HP and be careful about not taking too much damage, which I'm gonna do just that, and actually I'm gonna pull back because the enemy has their guns on me. And this thing doesn't have a good armor, neither it has a very good HP points, or even for a tier 1, basically this thing's a bit, let's say, fragile. Luckily the guns that are being fired at them don't take them out in one shot. Well, not always. At this moment we are gonna try to get shots of opportunity on Type 5091, and we managed to get him. Unfortunately the T-45 is a bit too low profile for us and we cannot get him, and that's our little problem because that guy can run up to us with very good advantage. Also his turret has a pretty bouncy armor for a tier 2. So in a tier 2 match, and if this guy is against tier 1s, it's basically a nightmare. Well, I've seen worse than this. I'll be short for that, because T-45 can also have something that most of the tanks don't have, and that is speed. So we have an M2 light covering our backs, and I'm going to intercept the T-45 that is going for RT. Now the Lloyd gun carrier is pretty fragile, and any kind of backup that we can provide for him is welcome. So he fires first shot at the RT, I place one shot in. He bounces one off me, which is very good for me, but I bounce one off him, and somehow I think RT or myself managed to get loader or the ammo rack, so he didn't reload on time, and I managed to get 2 shots on him while he got only 1 shot on me, which is pretty good for us. At this moment the enemy team is still holding on, but remember, these guys are pretty tough. Now unfortunately Panzer II destroys our M2 medium, which is a big problem for us, and at this situation we are trying to get a shot on opportunity on the Panzer II, which also nails our M2 light. Yeah, we are also loading the APCR rounds because we want to penetrate this guy. Remember guys, loading premium ammo costs a lot, and if you want to use this ammo, make sure that you're gonna penetrate, and we leave our enemy on 1 bloody HP. You can call that a mercy roll. And we managed to get the Panzer 35T once while he was trying to pepper us with his gun. Luckily for us, T-45 engaged finally in the game and destroyed the Panzer II. And as you can see, we are trying to get the Panzer 35T, but he's exchanging fire with T-45 on our left side. So I'm gonna go around the Panzer and use the situation that he's in, while the 45 is pinning him down. I can easily outflank him. So remember guys, in these little steps that I'm showing on my channel, you need to learn on to outflank the enemy and get them into bad position like this, so you can destroy them. M2 light unfortunately running away, but I managed to get 1 shot into him. Unfortunately the other shot goes way over it, and M2 light is free to go on the LTP. M2 light has a machine gun I think, and also has a nasty single shot gun, so it's basically very hard to destroy because he has a punch. You can actually choose on what conditions to fight. And LTP managed to get 1 shot into M2 light. As I said before, M2 light has also a very good choice of guns, single shots or the autocannons, and at this moment I'm just pissed off that I didn't manage to get to save our LTP, and M2 is getting away. And he's in a very good spot actually to be covered, because remember, once you fire your gun, you are revealing around 15 meters around yourself. That's this circle, and if you wanna be hidden while you're firing, keep the bushes around you or vegetation on this area, so once you fire your gun, the enemy won't spot you. And that's the best thing that you can do to actually you know, the best way you can do to actually play the game as being invisible while shooting. And that's one of the first steps that need to actually learn in these little tiers that I'm doing. And T-45 is basically rude. I know where the enemy is. He's definitely there, but I don't know if he's gonna stay for the whole game or he's gonna go around the map, because T-45 haven't managed to spot him, and the only way that M2 can get to our base is via zero line, if he went for there. So we are waiting here for the enemy to show their cards. And M2 Light will be doing something radical. Now remember, when you try to cap the base, you cannot outcap two guys. And we are going forward, so I'm waiting for the T-45, the rude one, yeah, and waiting for him to actually get into cap and show this guy that he cannot outmatch two tanks capping while he's solo capping our cap. Now we're forcing his hand, and he needs to get back and reset. Of course, I'm gonna leave T-45 to cover that part of the base, and I'm gonna cover the fastest approach. I'm hoping the M2 Light will go this way, and as you can see, I'm still keeping my PCR loaded. I'm gonna lose credits for this game. Keep in mind with that, if you don't want to lose credits, don't use APCR, but if you really need to carry and to make sure that you wanna hit something and penetrate something, you can use APCR, but I suggest that you don't rely on it too much. So, M2 Light will be getting soon to us, but I'm wondering where he's gonna go. Is he gonna go to the town, or is he's gonna go to this area? And he chose the town, so I'm turning around and going back to back up the T-45, even though T-45 is 100% HP and M2 Light is one-shot kill. Let's see, I'm gonna at least be a sportsman and cover our friendly enemy. And I tried my first shot, goes into the ground. Second shot, I'm waiting for the enemy to show his hands, and when he got around the corner, I managed to get him. So this is a decent game. Let's check out the results to see the details. So let's see. We have first class, fighter, and FIFO effect. We have on the damage, we are second. 16 points behind, even though I think 16 because I'm bad with my math. And experience wise, we are on top. Detail said that we managed to even earn something on regular account, even though we fired a couple of APCR shots. Now we managed to fire 34 shots, but we only hit with 13 and penetrated with 12, so less than 50% accuracy, but that's what you have with the credit crew. By the way, this is the first of the leader reviews. We're gonna do also the big tanks that I have in my garage, and I'll be covering them as well, don't worry. And this part of the replays are meant mostly for the noobs to learn what they can have, or for the nostalgic ones that wanna just silk a little bit. So, all in all, this was the LT-35. Till next time, see you and good luck on the games you're playing.